Hello, adventurers! If you're watching this, you have selected to take part in Lilybrook's Nerd Takeover for the week. My name is Linnea C., and I am one of the resident nerd therapists at Lilybrook Counseling Services. I am also the director of children's services here, and one of my great joys about working here is that I get to run our therapeutic tabletop groups. And what those are is a group where we use therapeutic roleplay game groups such as Dungeons and Dragons, um, Monster of the Week, Kids on Bikes, where you work together with a team to solve mysteries, defeat dragons or other monsters, and also learn more about yourself along the way. We use these groups to work on things like teamwork or reducing anxiety, feeling more comfortable with making choices, building confidence. They're fantastic ways to do that. And today you get to try a little bit of that yourself. So picture yourself in an adventuring party. You can be human or you can be not human. You can be a centaur, you can be a half elf, you can be a high elf, or you can just be a random human that's wandering around with a group of friends. And whatever you choose, you are going to be solving some mysteries that will happen to do things with mental health and coping skills this week. So, for your first adventure, you will be starting out at the beginning of a cave system. Now, this cave system has obviously been worked by some creatures, possibly dwarfs, possibly men, possibly whoever, dragons, who knows. And it has been made into less of a cave and more of a home, or what you think might be a maze. You are seeking for treasure in this cave system, and so you are going to enter the cave at the mouth of it and walk towards the back. As you go through, you smell that the air is very still. There's not a ton of ventilation right here because it's right in the open. It smells slightly stale, like somebody hasn't been there in a very long time, and it's got a hint of damp chill, which kind of increases as you walk further into the cave. As you get to the back of the entranceway to the cave, you realize that the way is blocked by 3 doors that have been hewn into the cave walls themselves and are large wooden doors with brass handles, no knockers, and no hint of a lock. As you try them, you realize that the doors are in fact locked. Magic spells do not work on them, and there is no lock, so you cannot pick the lock. There's also no visible hinges, so you're not sure how you're going to get in the door. But as you look at the door, you realize that there is a small square design on the middle door, and it looks like another square made of arrows along the sides, each pointing in a different direction. And in the corners, there are little round metal divots. The arrows are also made of metal that have been set into a carved design. And as you appear, or as you look, words appear as you look more closely at the door. And it says, to open the door, answer the following riddle. I'm light as a feather, yet the strongest person can't hold me for much more than a minute. What am I? As you confer with your team, you wonder, could it be a bird? Could it be something light or small? It has to be a light. It's light as a feather. One of your teammates pipes up and says, it has to be breath. And as you all agree, you try different ways of breathing on the door. You breathe fast, you breathe hard, you breathe softly, you whisper at the door, you wave at the door to make a fan. None of it moves anything in the door. As you are tracing the pattern in the door with your finger, however, you realize that when you let out a breath, there is a tiny click. You try it again, taking in a breath and then letting it out as you draw your finger across the top of the square. Taking a breath at the side and letting it out as you draw the side of the square. Taking another breath at the bottom corner and running across. Taking a breath at the very last corner and going up to the side. And as you do that, the door pops open and you are able to see into the lit corridor beyond. And you will have to see what waits beyond the door for our next adventure. The technique that you use to open the door is a technique to reduce anxiety or frustration. It's called box breathing, and it really is as simple as that. You don't have to use your finger. You can also just think about a box, but it's easier to show you with a finger. You take a breath in at the corner, breathe out across the top, breathe in at a corner, breathe out along the side, breathe in at the corner, breathe out along the bottom, breathe in at the corner, and breathe out along the side. And what this does is if your exhale is longer than your inhale, it gives your brain a chance to kind of settle down and be aware of what's happening in the room, gives you time to step away if you need to, gives you time to think of another coping skill, gives you time to ask for help. And so that is what box breathing is. And congratulations on opening the door. I hope to see you here tomorrow for the next installment of our Great Coping Skills adventure. If you're interested in finding out more about the groups, you can contact our front desk at contact@lilybrookcs.com, or you can contact them by phone at 248-250-6620. And I will see you tomorrow, adventurers.